The All Blacks team has been named for the second Bledisloe Cup test at Eden Park, and there have been several promotions and demotions with 5 changes to the starting 15. After last week's draw with the Wallabies, the All Blacks are desperate to put in a commanding performance at their Eden Park fortress and send a message to their critics. Meanwhile, South Africa have officially withdrawn from the Rugby Championship, with Sanzaar confirming this afternoon the World Champion Springboks won't be going to Australia. Rugby reporter Joe Porter has more.
Rieko Ioane, paying the price for blowing a certain try last week, dropped to the bench by All Blacks coach Ian Foster and replaced by Anton Linnett-Brown.
Just felt that this week, and one of Anton's strengths probably is decision making around our organisation and little things like that, and we just felt that bringing him back in will give us a bit of an edge in that space.
Beauden Barrett has recovered from his Achilles injury to start at fullback, with brother Geordie staying on the right wing and Richie Mo'unga at first 5. Caleb Clark will make his starting debut on the left wing, replacing the injured George Bridge. Dane Coles starts at hooker ahead of Cody Taylor, while Tupou Va'i gets his starting debut at lock in place of Sam Whitelock, who is out with concussion. Va'i will have a horde of friends and family among the near-capacity crowd.
Pretty sure the whole South Auckland's going to be coming, but I told them and they were just pretty stoked for me, and I'm pretty sure they'll be screaming out on the sides.
2 metres tall and nearly 120 kilograms, Va'i will be expected to bring plenty of physicality, and his locking partner Patrick Tuipulotu is determined not to be bullied by the Wallabies 2 weeks in a row.
We had a pretty solid set piece. We had a solid scrum, solid line out and solid maul, and I think off the field it's more so us getting up off the ground quicker, hitting those breakdowns with more venom and sort of having slight more aggression. I'd say we've had our structures, they're in place now, they're solid there, but I think it's time for us to actually get some punch into it now.
Foster knows they'll need more punch to win on Sunday, but he scoffed at suggestions the All Blacks have lost their aura of invincibility.
We're fully used to those comments, and those comments come every time we have a performance that doesn't reach, I guess, our expectations for starters, and so there's not much point arguing with them, because if we're not happy with where we're at, then that's all we're worrying about.
Foster admits the All Blacks didn't adjust to the Wallabies' off-the-ball tactics and the way that was refereed in Wellington, but he's confident his side will fight fire with fire in Tamaki Makaurau.
Well, we've just got to find what line's been drawn on the day, and a line was drawn last week that we probably didn't meet.
Another meeting that won't happen is the All Blacks and South Africa, with this afternoon's confirmation that the Springboks are withdrawing from the Rugby Championship met with disappointment by Foster.
We love the Springboks, we love to play them, we understand the pressures on them and the challenges they've had, so what happens, happens.
Beauden Barrett feeling much the same way, but after becoming a father for the first time, has his perspective changed on life or rugby?
Oh, I'm loving fatherhood. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I've been managing time at home and time in the hotel. Getting that balance right is important this week, because I certainly get a good kick out of going home and seeing little Billy.
Billy won't mind if his dad doesn't win this weekend, but Barrett and All Blacks fans certainly will, with the hosts not having lost to the Wallabies at Eden Park in 34 years.
And we can speak now to Joe Porter, who is outside Eden Park. Joe, are there any surprises in that team?
Wouldn't say. Some interesting selections. Beauden Barrett coming in at fullback to replace Damien McKenzie. He's recovered from that injury as suggested. So some people thought that Barrett might come in at first 5 replacing Richie Mo'unga, who didn't have the best of games against the Wallabies in the first test. However, it's Mo'unga at first 5, Beauden Barrett at fullback, Geordie Barrett remains on the wing, and we have a change at centre with Rieko Ioane dropping to the bench. And of course, Anton Linnett-Brown, so crucial to the All Blacks' chances at last year's World Cup and such a solid player back in the side. So a few changes there. Dane Coles comes in at hooker to bring a bit of mongrel to the side that was lacking last week. He replaces Cody Taylor. And Tupou Va'i, of course, making his starting debut as a 20-year-old locker alongside the Blues captain Patrick Tuipulotu. So some good changes there, some interesting changes, but a largely predictable team, knowing, of course, that they had a few injuries with Sam Whitelock unavailable at lock, among a few.
OK, so is it going to be a sellout then?
Close to it. As of about 2 hours ago, there were 3,500 tickets remaining out of around 47,700. So, yeah, close to a sellout, 35,000 tickets remaining out of nearly 48,000. You'd imagine come Sunday afternoon, if the weather's like this in Auckland and another few sunshiny days, it would be capacity.
And so we know now that the Springboks have pulled out of the Rugby Championship. What's going on there?
Yes, the Springboks have confirmed what everyone suspected may happen. They simply haven't had enough game time, rugby time under their belt this year to be able to come over and compete with the All Blacks and Wallabies, who have had full Super Rugby seasons and, of course, already played one test already and a couple by the time South Africa get there. So South Africa just don't have enough rugby under their belt. They've got issues with their government travel restrictions in South Africa, as well as COVID-19 happening in that country and affecting some of their players who are playing in Europe and other parts of the world. So it's simply just, I guess, too big a hurdle to cross or get over for the Springboks to make it down to the Rugby Championship, which will cost them a lot of money, but ultimately player welfare, I believe, has come first.
And so what does it mean for us that that team's not going to be there?
Well, I guess for the All Blacks fans, it means no traditional rivalry with the Springboks. The Wallabies and All Blacks is a good rivalry. We love the Bledisloe Cup, but the Springboks All Blacks is the real New Zealand traditional rivalry, that foe. So that will be missed. They are the world champions, so we don't get to measure ourselves, I guess, as a rugby nation against the best in the world. But really, it hits NZR hardest in the pocket rather than the games missed by the All Blacks. They're going to take a big financial hit from that. It's not clear exactly how much money will be lost by the Rugby Championship as a whole, with the Boks not being there, but it's well into the millions of dollars of revenue. They bring a big chunk of broadcast revenue to this deal, so yeah, that money will be sorely missed.
I want a one-word straight answer, Joe. What's more exciting, the election on Saturday or the game on Sunday?
Well, you could argue that both are as predictable as one another, I think. Perhaps the rugby's less predictable, so I'm going to put on my sports journo hat and say the second Bledisloe Cup test is harder to pick than the election, perhaps.
Appreciate your time, Joe. That is Joe Porter, our sports reporter outside Eden Park there.